Hey everyone, welcome back to Adventures with Edna. I'm Chris, and today we're going to find out what's going on with Edna. You may have noticed in my last video that I was talking about the fact that the new transmission messed up already and started making a horrible noise, and I didn't know what it was. But I have since had a chance to actually get into it and find out what the problem was. Now, unfortunately, it's a broken gear, which was what I was fearing the most. I got in there with a magnet and fished around after taking the cover back off, and inside I found two small broken pieces with the magnet from one of the lower gears. Then I reached my hand down into the fluid where I couldn't see and felt around on the different gears and found where it was off. So it's on the main cluster, which was the other part of the big fear, was that it was on the bottom gear. Now that I know what's actually wrong, I have three basic options, all of which involve pulling the transmission back out of the truck, which at this point doesn't seem like too big a deal because I've already got the floor and everything out. So that's going to happen no matter what anyway. So I feel like I'm already there, so it's really just pulling the drive shaft and then pulling the bolts out at this point. So once the transmission's out, I have my three options. I can order a complete gear set, because I guess if you're going to replace one, you might as well get them all. But that involves taking the entire transmission back apart again and putting it back together with the new gears. I don't know what caused the gear to break, so I'm a little bit hesitant to work on the transmission again for fear that it could happen again. It could have been something simple. Maybe there was a hairline crack in that gear already, because the gears were the only things I didn't replace in the new transmission. Everything else that, you know, if you saw the other videos, the synchronizers, the seals, the bearings, the gaskets, everything was all new in there. The only thing that I reused was the gears themselves, and I thought they were all fine, but apparently that wasn't the case. So I'm a little afraid that if I put any more gears in here, that it'll happen again. I'd never rebuilt a transmission before. This was my first, so kind of doubting my skills at the moment as to whether I'll put it back together properly, since this one only lasted 2 days before breaking. Maybe you just need to get back on the horse, I don't know. So that brings me to option 2. Option 2 is a rebuilt transmission that supposedly only has 500 miles on it, so not only is it rebuilt, but if something was going to mess up, it was probably going to do it in the first 500 miles. It's coming from a local business that has it. I don't know. I don't have any reason to doubt what they're saying is true. So that's option 2, but it's only $150 less than getting one with 0 miles on it, which is option 3, getting a rebuilt transmission through Ford V8 parts, who is only about a 45-minute to an hour drive from here, so it's not very far away. I got most of the parts for this transmission when I was rebuilding from them, so I have good experience with that company, but they offer ones that are already rebuilt. Now, without getting into the numbers on any of these things, the gears versus getting a new transmission is only a little more than $400 of difference. So, do I want to save the $400 and rebuild this transmission again, which is probably at least going to be an all-day project of pulling it back out, putting the new gears in, putting it back in the car, and keeping our fingers crossed? Or do I go with the most expensive version, which is buying a rebuilt transmission from Ford V8 parts and putting that one in. But the only thing that I don't like about that job, other than the additional expense, is it kind of wastes everything I did with this transmission. With the long road to go pick it up, all the parts that I accumulated for it, all the work I put into rebuilding it, the research and all that, so it puts all of that in waste. It was definitely a good learning experience, but I don't know if I want to waste everything that I already did. So I'm kind of up in the air on how I want to handle this situation. The only other thing is I got to figure out how to pay for it too, which is another option or another setback. So, but I'm hoping to have that resolved fairly quickly, just in the interest of getting this thing back out on the road. I miss driving it. I really want to have the transmission right and not have any issues. I put enough miles on this thing to justify the expense of the transmission. And then some of you guys are probably at home saying, why not upgrade? Why not put a 5-speed in it? Why not put, an automatic transmission in it? I've looked at the possibility of doing the T5 swap on here. I've looked at the putting a C4 in it or a C6 and having an automatic, but I've never owned an automatic and not really all that interested in having one. So that kind of draws a line through that idea. The 5-speed is pretty tempting. The only thing I don't like is it's kind of one of those, once you do it, you can't go back kind of things. And I think that one of the allures of this channel is the fact that Edna is running on mostly original drivetrain, still has the original engine, still has the original transmission, still has the original rear end. Everything else is just minor upgrades that I've done since I've had it, between lowering it and converting it to 12 volts and electronic ignition. But it's simple mods. If you do the C4 transmission or the T5, you have to cut the frame rail out, the cross member in there that it goes through. Now, yeah, you could probably go back in there and weld it back if you ever wanted to go back, but I kind of don't want to go through that route. I like that this is mostly original. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing a hot rod project in the future, but I don't feel like Edna is that hot rod project. So I don't feel like the upgraded, newer transmission is what I want to do. I feel like I just want to stick with the original style transmission for this. Okay, now for some better news. Something I've always wanted to get on Edna is, while I like the patina look, I don't like having giant gaping holes in my running boards. And the fact that these are all beat up along the side here, so they're all misshapen. And a previous owner decided to weld in these diamond plates right here, which I also don't like. So I've always wanted new running boards for both sides. And just the other day, I got the hookup from my friend Tony. He was doing his son has a, I can't remember if it was a 50 or not. It was at least a 48 through 49, or 50, like Edna is. Him and his son restored it together. They opted to replace the running boards, and so Tony hooked me up with a original running board that only had one small hole in it that he welded up already. Just needs a little bit of tweaking, but it's all fully sandblasted and it looks great. So I'm going to be swapping out this one. He thought he had both, but he only had the one, but still, beggars can't be choosers. So I'm going to get that one ready to go on here, and I'm going to swap this one out. So I'll probably do a video on that. I'm kind of debating on powder coating it. Even though that, I think it'll still look fine with the patina look. Just do the powder coating so it's a little more heavy duty than if it just had paint on it, so I don't have to worry about Chance stepping on it and scratching it. So that'll be a plus there, because even though I step right into the truck, Chance has to use the running boards to get in. This is small. Alright, another cool thing that I'm going to be doing is replacing the filler neck. This one's kind of rusted out. It's got some bad pitting right through here and through here, so it doesn't seal perfectly. So as you can see, Edna's got run marks from when the tank was full and it leaked. So I have a nice new filler neck to go on here with a nice new gasket to go around here. So that's going to look cool, plus it's chrome. So it'll go with some of the new bling like the rear bumper. I had on order since November, and now being the end of June, I ordered a new gas cap to go with it. And the new gas cap had the vintage Ford V8 emblem on it. And apparently when I ordered it, they are made in China and they have not made it to the United States yet. So that order has still not come in. The only reason I haven't changed out the neck yet is you have to clock these in there so that when you put the cap on, the whatever logo might be on here is facing upright. So that's the only reason I haven't swapped that out yet, but I may just go ahead and do it and just get another cap to go on there. This is just an inexpensive one that I got through O'Reilly's. So something else that I need to do on here is the oil filter. It's not hooked up, it's just here for show. It didn't have an oil filter on it when I bought her. One of the guys on one of the forums, I posted that I needed one, and he sent me this one for free, which I thought was pretty cool. So I cleaned it up, got it repainted, put it on here. It's looking a little dusty now because it's been on there for a little while. I found out that you can't really get to the oil pressure sensor without, or from up here, you really need to take the floor out where the transmission is, so I have the perfect opportunity to swap that out now. I was actually going to do it when I was putting the new transmission in, but once I got the transmission in and fully hooked up, I was pretty excited and wanted to get out and take it for a drive and put the floor back in, and kind of forgot all about getting those lines in. I got to pull the oil pressure sensor out because it's in the same hole where the hose is supposed to go, or the tubing that goes to it, and move it to the side plug, and then I got to put the other hose on it. So for right now, that's just in there for show. Another thing I want to do is do a little bit of cleanup with the wiring under the hood. You can see it looks like an electrician's nightmare in here. So I kind of want to go through, get all that cleaned up. I'd also like to put in a fuse box under the hood that runs things that run directly off the battery, so not everything's running through the key. This is where we're at with the transmission at the moment. The top's off, gears are exposed, but none of the ones in view here are any of the ones that are hurt, so you can't really tell anything's wrong with it. Everything looks nice and clean in there. But the broken tooth is on the cluster underneath this one, so you really can't see it. It's an excellent looking drive shaft from
Carolina Driveline.
Another thing I want to do is on my door panels, the vinyl is coming up on here, and I've seen a few others in pictures and stuff where they've put some kind of pocket in here so that they can hold stuff, like a little expandable pocket. So I'm thinking about taking those to the local upholstery shop and having that done, which I think will be kind of cool. Give me somewhere else to put stuff. So that's pretty much everything that's going on right now. I was hoping to do a better video this week, but without Edna being drivable, there was kind of a lack of options on what to do. I've only got to work for another week, and then I've got a whole 9 days off. I'd like to be able to figure out this transmission situation before then. Hopefully have some option to make that happen, and because I'd like to be able to drive Edna during those 9 days off, maybe come up with some decent videos. Kind of excited about the 4th, and Edna wants to run on the 4th. So anyway, that's going to do it for this week's Adventures with Edna. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, news.